Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Jed Donahue. We're joined by Dr. Barbara Dixon, interim president at Lock Haven University, talking about what faces higher education today. And we mentioned just education in general. Doesn't matter what level you're on. Kind of at a crossroads with budgets getting tighter and just the costs and things. Well, we were talking about trying to keep costs down, but the key to any university, and we'll get into the mission statement, is how good are your faculty? I mean, that's imperative. You got to have professors that know what they're doing and things. How does a university go about trying to attract top-level faculty, or how do you know you have a fit and something like that? I don't know. I've never been in on one of those interviews before.
There's a standard national search process when you're hiring a tenure-track faculty member. And I think one of the clear things is to be sure your mission is a part of that job description. For example, people who really want to be at a research institution, we're looking for people, aren't the people we're looking for. We're looking for people who have discovered a love for teaching but still have a desire to keep their scholarly life alive, and that kind of feeds in and out with the faculty and the students. That helps them teach. And you can tell some of that when you get people, by their applications, when you bring them onto campus. You never know for sure until you get there whether it's really a good fit. But when people, if they like students and they really want to be around students and they like the interaction, the close interaction with students, that's what we look for at Lock Haven, for people who like to spend the extra time with students, and the kind of students we have, those that are committed to perhaps even first-generation students. We have a lot of those at Lock Haven. But it all comes with making sure that our mission and what we do is very clear to them when they come on campus. So that's the first thing, to making sure we don't get a bad fit.
Yeah, I've had a couple of Lock Haven kids as interns, and I think that's another thing that, not only Lock Haven, but any university, they like to have their students interact with that particular business that would correlate with whatever their major is, and the more the better, I think.
That's right. And you're talking about, too, getting students out of the classroom and interacting with perhaps the part of the world that they will be in when they leave the university. And that can be done through the internships, like you mentioned. It also can be done through service learning, working with community organizations, which can be both volunteer work, and then it can also factor into a classroom. One of the things we have at Lock Haven is a very, very big volunteer organization, which also does things like some study abroad. They go to work in countries abroad. So there's a world of opportunities at Lock Haven to do that, to take their classroom experience and get into the world actually before we graduate.
Yeah, I mean, and Dr. Dixon, the main goal is go 4 years. You want them out in the world to be able to survive.
Right. We don't want anymore for that to be a sheltered environment for 4 years where they don't do any of that and then try to figure out what the outside world is like. We really try to bring it together for them.
I was asked you in the pre-meeting here, we'll have some students and some parents watching. And just to, from your vantage point in your admissions office, I'm just curious what the bar is these days and what advice you would give parents and students, prospective students, not only at Lock Haven but anywhere, as they look to qualify for admission. What are the things they need to be doing now and get on it early, freshman, sophomore year, high school, things like that? What do you need to do?
Well, certainly get on it early. You don't want to be waiting until halfway through fall semester of your senior year to think about it. You want to be looking at trying to determine what your interests are, although I think that's really difficult for a 16 or 17-year-old to know what they want to do for the rest of their life. But to look at a place that has programs that you think you might be interested in. Most schools look at the balance. Your grade point average is important. Your SAT or ACT score is important. If you're required to do a admissions essay, it's important that you take time to do that. And I think the campus visit is a very important thing too. To look at the school, we'd like to think, those of us that are at the university, that it's all science. We can tell exactly what it takes to attract a student and get them in. But unfortunately, there's a lot of intuition, a lot of art to it. I think students who are successful need to feel when they walk onto the campus that it is a place that they can see themselves living. 4 years.
Yeah, because you had mentioned to me this is going to be a significant part of your life, not only 4 years, but when you look back, it's going to be a significant memory for you as well.
Absolutely. We all remember our undergraduate days better than anything in our graduate days. And it's a significant investment these days. So to have the right fit, it's important to look at any specialties that the school has, if those fit the student's interest. For example, I know we have a lot of programs that are in the health-related professions and in education. We have a lot of professional programs. But in addition to that, we have a really good liberal arts background for the students that really provides a great foundation.
Yeah, no doubt. What do you think the biggest adjustments are for students to college life? I know time management's huge and probably everything.
Well,
maybe.
Time management is huge because the time that they have at the college is far less structured than when they're in high school. There's a lot of potentially, I call it unearned leisure time, you know, an hour between class rather than finding a corner and studying for an hour. You might go socialize, and that adds up. I think the other adjustment is the social construct of a college campus. You know, a lot of students have had their own room at home. They come and get put into a dorm room with 2 or 3 other people, and it's being in an environment where there are, at our place, for example, close to 5,000 people just like them. So I think the social construct and finding the time management and finding the ability to focus on their schoolwork and still have a rich outside of the classroom life.
Yeah, experience. We'll get into the experiences for students, and we'll talk more about Lock Haven University. We're with the interim president, Dr. Barbara Dixon. You are watching For the Record. We'll be back with more after this.